Revealed, the life-changing moment when an adoptive father discovers his daughter's hidden pain. Bill had built his life on hard work. As the proud owner of a quaint hardware store in a quiet Midwestern town, he filled every shelf with tools and love, but nothing filled his heart quite like his adoptive daughter, Lily. He spent long hours among the aisles, always rushing home each evening to their little blue house, where laughter was too often drowned out by the weight of the world outside. Yet lately, Bill had sensed a shift. Lily, once full of vibrant color and creativity, now seemed to drift through her days like a ghost. Her earthy paintbrushes lay untouched, the colors of her imagination waiting for a spark that never came. Bill's worry thumped in his chest as he watched her silently retreat. He remembered when they'd spent weekends together creating art, painting the world as they saw it. Now, his home felt swallowed by a silence that echoed louder than any disapproving crowd. His gut clenched tight with fear and confusion. What was wrong with his little girl? Where had her sparkle gone? It wasn't long before he discovered the truth, a truth darker than he ever could have imagined. As the autumn leaves turned, the whispers at school grew louder. Lily was being bullied, and it was tearing her apart. "You're just a kid from the other side of town," they'd say, "an adoptive mistake." Hearing those words felt like a gut punch. Bill felt the heat of anger surge through him, his throat tightened. This was not the world he wanted for Lily. He wrestled with his responsibilities as a father and a business owner, feeling the weight of both roles pressing down on him. The local school wouldn't help. They dismissed his concerns with a shrug. Instead of support, he felt anger boil within him. Struggling with his pride and fear, he decided to take action. "We need to fight this pain and burst that bubble," he thought, and birthed an idea: the community art fair. With every ounce of energy, Bill organized the event, hoping to bring life back into Lily's eyes. He wanted her creativity to shine, for her to realize she was more than just a label, more worthy than society's cruel judgment. But as news of the fair spread, so did underlying tensions. Parents clashed over the idea of merit, some insisting children should earn their accolades through competition, while others believed every child, including Lily, deserved a spotlight. Before we continue, I need to let you know about something important that's happening. YouTube has been making changes to the system and many people are losing notifications from channels they follow. If you're enjoying the content, hit that bell and mark all notifications so you don't miss the next videos. And if you can drop a like, it really helps me with reach. Seriously, it makes a difference. Oh, let me know in the comments where you're watching from. I'm always curious to know who's on the other side of the screen. Now let's continue. As the day of the fair approached, tension crackled in the air. The community buzzed with excitement but simmered with conflict. Bill felt like a soldier on a battlefield, and each complaint from a parent felt like another blow. But all that mattered was Lily, and he knew he had to stand firm. On the day of the fair, bright balloons floated in the air, tempting the clouds above. The crowd gathered, filled with chatter and laughter. But as Lily stepped up to unveil her artwork, Bill's heart raced. Would they finally see her for who she truly was? When she revealed her canvas, showcasing raw emotion and a resilience that took his breath away, he felt both proud and terrified. The murmurs began, but one remark cut through the excitement like a knife. Bill froze, caught in the weight of judgment, grappling with what the community thought of his daughter. In that moment, as uncertainty loomed, he realized a choice stood before him, one that could alter the course of their lives forever. Would he speak out for Lily, risking it all in an unforgiving landscape that demanded conformity? The answer hung heavy in the air, leaving him breathless and desperate for the courage to act. Bill's heart thundered in his chest as he looked out at the crowd. Their eyes flitted between Lily's artwork and the hesitant girl who stood before them. He could see the whispering mothers, their eyes narrowing, jaws set firm with judgment. Anger surged within him, hot and unyielding. But another part of him felt a fierce need to protect Lily, to shield her from the arrows of harsh words aimed at her spirit. He took a deep breath, feeling the summer air against his skin, sweetness tainted with tension. This was it. This was his moment. He stepped forward, adrenaline firing him up, pushing him to take action. "Excuse me." Bill shouted, silencing the murmurs with a forceful clarity. The sudden stillness wrapped around him and the crowd turned, eyes fixing on him with growing curiosity. I just wanted to say something. His words stumbled a bit, but he pressed on. My daughter, Lily, poured her heart into that painting. This isn't just a collection of colors, it's a window into her soul. And every child here deserves to have their voice heard, their art appreciated, even if they come from the other side of town. He could feel the heat pooling in his chest, and when he glanced at Lily, her face was a mask of surprise. Was she proud? Afraid? He couldn't tell, but he knew he had to keep going. We are all different. We all come from different places and backgrounds. But it's that diversity that makes our community beautiful. It's what makes us a family. The crowd stirred, some nodding, others crossing their arms defensively. Bill took another deep breath, grounding himself. I won't pretend it's easy to change. But we must. We can be better, do better. We cannot allow a child to feel less than what they are because of prejudice or ignorance. Lily is not a mistake. She is a gift. A father in the back spoke up, breaking the silence. What do we do? The uncertainty in his voice resonated in the air. How do we support our kids through this? I know my daughter has lost friends because of her own differences. It's time we change that. Bill's heart swelled with hope. Maybe, just maybe, they could start something. A ripple effect, a new beginning. Let us start right here, right now. How about we celebrate all the kids today? Every piece of art matters. Everyone matters. The crowd began to murmur in agreement, voices sharpening with resolve. Bill could see faces softening, parents turning to each other with understanding. He noticed Lily's expression shift, a flicker of something more. Was it courage? Recognition? The art fair transformed then, as people began to gather around different displays, talking, sharing, appreciating. Children were laughing, parents were smiling, and the heavy cloud of judgment began to lift. Yet, amidst the joy, Bill's heart ached with a question that lingered. Would this moment be enough to heal the wounds that scarred Lily? As the sun dipped low in the horizon, casting a gentle glow on the scene, Bill looked over at her, standing at her canvas, trying to navigate the waves of confusion that swirled in her heart. He knew then that their fight wasn't just about art or community, it was about healing a bond that had been tested. Yet, just as hope flickered, he saw a group of children whispering, glancing at Lily this time. The eyes were sharper, filled with mischief rather than malice. The tide might have turned today, but could it hold against whispers of tomorrow? Bill felt the weight of a new battle brewing, and his resolve hardened. Whatever came next, he would face it, standing arm in arm with Lily. It was their fight now, and they were not alone, but as they walked home, shadows lengthened behind them. A storm was looming on the horizon. How would they face what lay ahead? The following morning felt different. The sun kissed the horizon, casting a soft glow across the town, but inside Bill, a storm brewed. Every moment since the fair replayed in his mind, the hope and doubt tangled together like a web. He looked at Lily, still asleep, her brow slightly furrowed, as if even in sleep, her mind was racing. He placed a gentle hand on her shoulder, his heart swelling with love. What would it take to bridge this gap between their worlds? As they sat at the breakfast table, Lily pushed her cereal around, her eyes distant. Dad, do you think they really liked my painting? She finally asked, breaking the silence. I know they did, he replied, trying to inject confidence into his voice. You have a gift, Lily. You showed them who you are. But she only shrugged, looking away. The disappointment in her eyes pierced his heart like an arrow. He had hoped yesterday's moment would shine brightly for her, but the glow was dimming fast. After breakfast, Bill took a deep breath, gesturing towards the door. How about we take a walk? Get some fresh air. She hesitated, but the gentle, coaxing smile on his face seemed to draw her in. As they ambled through the quiet streets, the initial buzz of yesterday's challenges transformed into whispers of uncertainty in the back of Bill's mind. What if they talk about me again? Lily finally blurted out, her voice trembling. The fear laced in her words was unmistakable. They might, he admitted, kneeling to her eye level, a determined look in his gaze. But remember, you're stronger than that. You've already shown them your art. That's more powerful than their words. But deep within himself, Bill knew it was easier said than done. Children could be cruel, and the very same kids who had admired her art could just as easily turn it into fodder for jokes. He glanced around, looking for signs of their friends who had once embraced her. Instead, he saw distant faces, laughter echoing across the playground, a reminder of the divide that seemed to grow thicker every day. In the following days, he could sense Lily withdrawing into herself. She painted less, her canvases left untouched, a stark contrast to the vibrant energy she used to bring to her art. He tried to encourage her, suggesting they create together, but each time was met with silence or a half-hearted nod. One evening, Bill flipped through his own collection of photos from Lily's past, the giggles, the messy finger-painting sessions, the proud smiles on her face. He felt a lump in his throat, knowing he had to reach her, but didn't he know how? As he joined her one night in the living room, Lily finally spoke, her voice trembling. "What if I'm not good enough, Dad?" Bill's chest tightened. "You are more than good enough, Lily. You are beautiful, just as you are. Art isn't about fitting in or being perfect. It's about expressing yourself." But each word landed heavy, as if she was trying to lift a weight she didn't know how to carry. The room echoed with her silence, and he felt the despair like a thunderstorm ready to break. Just then, a text notification pinged on Bill's phone. It was from one of the fathers he had spoken to at the fair. It simply read, "Meeting tomorrow night. We need to talk about our kids." As he read those words, an idea sparked. Perhaps they could turn these feelings into action. Together, they could create a support system, help each other through the storms of judgment. But would Lily be ready? Would she let him pull her into this new space? With a heavy heart and a flicker of hope igniting, Bill turned to Lily, his eyes filled with determination. "There's something important we need to be part of. Will you join me tomorrow night?" The answer loomed large, but uncertainty clung in the air. Would Lily step into the light again, or continue to hide in the shadows? The moment of truth was close. Bill's heart raced as he watched Lily's gaze drift toward the window. The sky outside was turning a soft shade of lilac, promising a gorgeous sunset. But within their home, the tension felt thick and heavy. He had seen the way shadows followed her lately, like they were tethered to her spirit, pulling her further down with every passing day. "Dad?" Her voice broke his thoughts. "What do you think this meeting will be about?" He shrugged, forcing a smile. "I think it's about sharing what our kids are going through. We can support each other, and maybe, it'll be good for you too." Lily turned her head slightly. "You think it'll help?" Bill nodded, trying to project confidence he didn't fully feel. "I believe so. You're not alone in this, Lily. None of you kids are. It might even open some doors." Her silence told him everything. Fear and uncertainty coiled tight in the pit of her stomach. He could see her struggling, wrestling her emotions down like they were wild animals escaping confinement. Bill wished he could take away her pain, lighten her burden. "We'll go together. You'll see. There will be others who understand." That evening, as the sun dipped below the horizon, they drove to the community center in silence. Bill glided the car down familiar streets, the outline of buildings blurring in the gathering dusk. He could sense Lily's tension climbing, the way her fingers nervously fidgeted with the hem of her shirt. "I know it feels scary," he began, unsure if any comfort would break through the walls she had built. "It's just," she hesitated, voice barely above a whisper. "What if no one likes me?" Bill's heart ached at her words. Was that what all of this was about? All this time, he focused on her art, but maybe it was far deeper than that, a question of belonging. "You're so much more than your art, Lily. You have a heart that shines. Remember that." They arrived just in time for the meeting. The room buzzed with voices, parents chatting, kids laughing, a chorus of family life. Bill led Lily inside, his stomach twisting with anxiety, worried about how she'd react. As they entered, several familiar faces turned to them. Some smiled warmly, while others seemed to glance away. He sensed the subtle judgments rippling beneath the surface. "Look, it's the artist." One of the dads joked, a friendly smile plastered on his face. "You should show us more of that artwork." For a moment, hope bloomed in Bill's heart. But Lily's expression dulled like a candle flickering out. She shifted closer to him, her eyes unfocused as she slowly edged away from the crowd. "We should go," she murmured, the weakness in her voice pulling at him. "No," he said softly but firmly, kneeling before her. "You're not leaving. You can do this." He held her gaze, a bond visible in the way his hands encircled hers. "I'm right here." Still, the unyielding weight of her uncertainty hung in the air. As the meeting began, Bill glanced at the other parents. They listened openly, their voices mixing with understanding. But for Lily, the room felt like a cage, and he knew he needed to help her break free. That he made a quick decision. "Let us step outside for a moment, okay?" With slow nods, they moved out to the quiet expanse of the parking lot. The stars flickered above, a promising expanse of hope. "Why did you bring me here?" Lily asked, the vulnerability reflected in her eyes softening him. "Because I believe in you," he replied with deep sincerity. "I believe in us. I need you to see that you're valued, not just by me, but by everyone else too. You have something special." Just then, a burst of laughter rang out from the meeting, and Bill's heart sank when he saw a group of kids, including some of Lily's former friends. "Dad," Lily's voice quivered. She pulled closer to him, practically hiding beneath his arm. "Hey," he whispered, "it's okay. We can leave if you want, but remember, these kids didn't see your painting. They don't know. And we can help change that." In the dim light, he saw a flicker of defiance in her eyes, a spark that hadn't been there before. But would it ignite a fire? "Are you ready to go back in?" he asked, his voice steady, searching for any sign of courage in her stance. As Lily took a breath, the indecision cascaded across her face. Would she choose to step forward or retreat again? The moment hung, vibrant and fraught with possibility. What would she decide? Lily hesitated, her breath hitching as she processed her options. The laughter from inside the community center spilled over like a warm wave, yet it felt cold to her. "Dad," she started, her voice trembling. "What if they laugh at me? What if they don't understand?" The vulnerability in her gaze pierced right through him. He could feel her heart pounding against his side, the rhythm echoing their shared anxiety. "Then I'll be there to help you prove them wrong," he encouraged, squeezing her hand. "You've worked so hard. Don't let fear steal that from you. Remember your first art show? How proud you felt." With a deep breath, she shifted slightly, the weight on her shoulders still tangible but somehow lighter. The flicker of determination he'd seen before ignited for just a moment, a spark that he hoped would blaze into an inferno. "Okay, I'll try," Lily said, her voice barely above a whisper. It wasn't a full declaration of strength, but it was enough for Bill to feel hopeful. "Let us go, together," he replied softly, as they turned toward the entrance. Each step felt monumental, gathering weight in their hearts. As they returned inside, the meeting had shifted. Parents were sharing stories of their children, how they struggled and triumphed, both large and small. Bill could sense an opening, a chance for Lily to step into the light. But before he even had a chance to encourage her, a familiar voice rang out from across the room. "Lily's here. I can't believe it." It was Julie, one of the girls from Lily's middle school art class. She was surrounded by a small group of kids, their laughter fading as the spotlight turned toward Lily. Lily froze, her fingers tightening around Bill's. "Dad, what do I say?" "Just be yourself." Let them see you, he whispered, hoping to infuse her with courage. Julie approached them, smile bright but eyes curious. You've got to show us what you've been working on. I heard about that painting you did. Bill watched as Lily's cheeks flushed a soft pink. The thought of presenting her work excited her even as fear lurked in her eyes. Lily's words stumbled in her throat. It's not about perfection, he interrupted gently, standing behind her. It's about sharing. Go ahead, tell them about it. With a hesitant glance up at Bill, she took a deep breath. Okay. From somewhere deep within, a quiet resolve began to replace doubt. Bill could see her thoughts swirling, a storm of emotions, but she was steadier now, her voice a little firmer. I painted something. It's not perfect, but it's how I feel. The room quieted. Eyes turned toward her, and for a moment, he felt the world stand still. Can I see it? Someone from the crowd asked, encouragingly. Yes. Julie chimed in. Please. I want to see it. Subtle shifts of excitement filled the air, weaving an atmosphere of belonging that was palpable. Bill's heart swelled watching Lily process this newfound attention. Was she about to step into her own story? Suddenly, the crowd seemed less intimidating, a space of possibilities rather than judgments. Okay, she whispered, her voice gaining volume as the apprehension transformed into excitement. With tentative steps, she moved towards the front of the room. The dim light caught her features, illuminating the determination behind her eyes. Bill's heart raced with pride, a soft smile forming on his face. As she prepared to share her art with a mixture of nervousness and budding confidence, Bill sensed an unexpected warmth spreading through the room. It was as if everyone collectively held their breath waiting, hoping. Lily, he whispered, lifting a hand to signal encouragement, but before he could finish, her voice soared, wrapping around the audience like a warm embrace. This painting is about feeling lost and then finding yourself again. The weight of her admission hung in the air, heavy with truth. The unspoken pain, the rawness of her journey rippled through the crowd, weaving together a tapestry of empathy. Just then, from the back of the room, a girl stepped forward, tears glimmering in her eyes as she spoke. I feel that way too. Lily. The connection sparked an unexpected energy, inviting more voices. Suddenly, everyone seemed to resonate with Lily's experience, sharing their own battles and triumphs. Bill's heart raced not just with pride, but with realization. This was what belonging looked like. Lily's journey had just begun, but she wasn't alone anymore. Do you feel that? He whispered to her, the words filled with hope. Lily nodded, tears shimmering in her eyes, reflecting both fear and freedom. Now it's your time to shine, he said, ready to support her through whatever came next. Could this be the moment that reshaped her path, the start of a beautiful connection she never knew was possible? Lily stood there, vulnerability morphing into something fierce. For the first time in ages, she felt the weight of fear lift, replaced by shared hearts. It was as if she had opened a door, and the warmth of strangers surged in, comforting her. Yes. Please continue. Julie urged her, excitement in her voice. That simple encouragement fanned the flames of Lily's bravery. With a little bit of confidence, she took a step closer to the audience, her gaze sweeping over the faces watching her intently. When I painted this, I was feeling really lost, she confessed, her voice stronger now, almost musical in its clarity. I felt like I didn't belong anywhere, like I was just floating. But through the colors, I found some peace, a reminder that it was okay to feel this way. A soft murmur spread through the crowd, a testament to their connection with her words. Bill felt an immense swell of emotion. This wasn't just about a painting anymore, this was a breakthrough. What colors did you use? A boy called out, intrigue lighting up his face. It's mostly blue and purple. Lily explained, her hands dancing elegantly as she spoke. They remind me of the confusion, the darkness sometimes. But there's also this bright yellow at the center. I wanted it to symbolize hope. As she spoke, more hands shot up, eager to engage. With every question they posed, her confidence grew, allowing her to rediscover the joy of sharing. She glanced at her dad, finding him beaming with pride. His heart swelled, each heartbeat syncing with her vibrant energy. "Can we see more of your work?" Another girl chimed in, her eyes shining with admiration. "Yes." Julie nodded emphatically. "You have to show us everything. I'd love to know what inspired this one." Lily's breath caught in her throat, then transformed into a soft laugh. "Okay. But just know that each piece is a little piece of my heart." The atmosphere buzzed with excitement as she shared her journey through art. Each brushstroke had a story, a whisper of her struggles, her fears, and her growth. Bill felt the warmth in the room, a quilt of support wrapping around them, stitching connections that would last far beyond this one moment. As she showcased more paintings, he noticed kids reaching out to each other, forming small groups, sharing their thoughts and emotions. Lily had sparked something. "Wow, can we collaborate on something together?" One girl suggested, eyes sparkling. "I want to feel what you feel when I paint." Bill couldn't believe it. This was more than just acceptance. It was blossoming friendship, a sense of belonging not just for Lily but for everyone present. Moments like these, it was why he had encouraged her to share in the first place. Lily's laughter intermingled with the soft gasps of awe as she described the use of different textures in her paintings. Each sentence brought her closer to her audience, and the energy continued to build, flourishing in ways Bill had only dreamed it could. However, just as the session was blooming, a shadow fell over Lily's expression. She caught sight of a boy slipping out the back door, his face tightly turned away. She hesitated, torn between continuing with her art and reaching out to him. "Wait!" Lily suddenly called out, her heart racing. "Are you okay?" Bill's stomach twisted. Who was this boy? Why did Lily care? His protective instincts surged. But she took a few steps toward him, her hand outstretched. "It's okay to feel lost," she said gently, searching for his gaze. "You don't have to go through this alone." A hush fell over the crowd. Even Bill felt the air grow thick with anticipation. The boy paused, his back to her, and the moment hung on a knife's edge. What would he do? In that split second, Bill realized this journey was only just beginning. And there was so much more to uncover, not just for Lily but for him, too. Would the boy turn around? Would he step forward into this unexpected realm of connection? The audience watched, hearts in their throats, ready to witness the next chapter of Lily's transformation. Lily held her breath as the boy hesitated. The room was heavy with silence, and even the vibrant colors of her painting seemed to dull in the weight of this moment. She could feel the eyes of her peers on her, encouraging her but also adding pressure. "What's wrong?" she asked, her voice breaking through the stillness. He turned slightly, enough for her to see a glimpse of his face, familiar yet distant. Something stirred within her, a connection to a pain she recognized. Even in that moment, his shoulders sagged, and she could see him struggling with something deep inside. "I don't know if I belong here," he finally replied, his voice barely above a whisper. "It's hard." Her heart ached for him. She understood that feeling all too well, like drifting in an endless sea, hoping for someone to pull you back to shore. "You're not alone," she said softly, taking another step forward. "I've felt that way too a lot. But maybe together, we can find our way." The boy turned further, now facing her. As their eyes met, Lily noticed the sparkle of unshed tears and a flicker of vulnerability that mirrored her own. Julie, sensing the tension shift in the room, spoke up. "Why don't we help you? We can all help each other. That's what this is about, right?" A murmur of agreement rose from the group, emboldening Lily. She glanced back at her father, who nodded encouragingly. Bill's heart raced as he absorbed the scene before him. This was what it was all about. Real connections were forming. "Can you tell us your name?" Lily asked gently. The boy hesitated but nodded. "Jake." "Jake," she repeated, letting the name roll off her tongue. What if you shared your story with us? It might help you, and it could help all of us too. Another pause hung in the air, but this time it felt different. Jake shifted nervously but, slowly, he stepped back towards the crowd. I just moved here. Everything feels new and strange. Lily smiled and gestured to the surrounding kids. We've all faced change. It can be scary, but it can also be beautiful. A few kids nearby murmured their own experiences of moving, of feeling out of place. With every shared word, Jake's expression softened just a little. Art can help you, Lily said, her voice brighter now. It helped me. You should try it. You could paint your feelings, too. You'll see you're not alone in this. He nodded, a spark igniting behind his eyes. Maybe I could, of course. We could paint together. I can show you how, and you can show me too. A girl nearby chimed in, her enthusiasm catching like wildfire. Lily felt her own excitement bubble up. It was unfolding before her, the connection, the healing. It wasn't just about her anymore, it was about all of them. As they gathered close, laughing and sharing ideas, Bill felt tears prick at his eyes. He had always worried about Lily, her loneliness, her battles. But now, here she was, casting away shadows, bringing light not just to herself but to others. The laughter continued, and for a moment, it felt perfect, a community built on understanding and shared experiences. But as the warmth enveloped them, Bill couldn't shake off a tiny sense of unease. What if the light branded the scars deeper? What if the bond they created was tested? Before he could dwell on it, Lily turned toward him, her smile radiant. Dad, can you help me teach them how to paint? Absolutely. He beamed back, ready to support her, but before they could begin, Jake spoke up again, more resolute this time. I want to paint my story, but what if it hurts? What if it gets too real? The quiet returned, and Bill felt his pulse quicken. This moment held the weight of so many questions. How could they navigate through pain without shying away? Would they find strength in vulnerability? As Jake's voice echoed in his mind, Bill realized this journey wasn't just about art. It was about courage, the courage to face emotions that felt heavy and to embrace uncertainties with open hearts. Would Lily find a way to comfort Jake through art, or would they all stumble together into deeper vulnerabilities? The room held its breath, and anticipation hung in the air. The next chapter was unfolding rapidly, but things were about to get even more complicated. The room felt electric, the air crackling with a mix of hope and anxiety. Jake's question hung in the air like a weight, gravity pulling everyone closer to the truth buried within them. Lily could sense the collective heartbeat, a rhythm of vulnerability that united them. Art can be painful, Lily replied gently, her eyes never leaving Jake's. But it can also be freeing. It allows us to express what we sometimes can't say out loud. She took a step closer, closing the distance that felt vast just moments ago. You don't have to share every detail. Just paint what you feel. That's enough. Jake looked uncertain, his gaze flickering between the group and the colors waiting on the table. But what if those feelings are too dark? He whispered, as if admitting something profound. The others shifted, their own stories brewing beneath the surface. Then let the darkness in, too, Lily urged, her voice steady. It's part of who we are. Every color has its place. Just like every feeling. Julie nodded enthusiastically. I like that. We can mix it all together. Bright colors, dark colors, it makes a beautiful mess. Just like life. Lily turned to her, grateful for the support. This was the beauty of their gathering, the possibility of weaving their stories into something larger than themselves. As Jake stared at the blank canvas before him, a thin line formed between his eyebrows. The room felt like it was inhaling together, all of them preparing for the exhale that would follow, a release of everything trapped inside. You know, I once painted something that scared me so much I almost crumpled it up, Julie shared, her voice softening. But when I showed it, everyone loved it. They could feel what I felt, and it turned into something beautiful. The stories circled, igniting sparks of connection within the group. One after another, the kids began to share their own hesitations, fears, and the art that had once made them hesitate yet ultimately unveiled their hearts. "Art helps," a boy named Sam said quietly. "When I draw, it's like I'm telling secrets that need a voice." Lily's heart swelled. They were growing stronger, allowing themselves to be cracked open. But a darkness loomed just beyond the light. Bill remained vigilant, observing every shift in emotions, every glimmer of pain illuminated in the vibrant hues of creativity. As Jake finally picked up a brush, he hesitated over the palette. "What if I can't do it?" "Then you just start," Lily suggested. "Each brush stroke is a step. You've already taken some courage by showing up here." Jake took a deep breath and plunged the brush into the paint, the brilliant hues swirling together in impassioned chaos. The others watched, their anticipation palpable. For a moment, it was as if time slowed. As Jake's hand moved across the canvas, a mix of colors began to emerge: bold strokes, hesitant flicks, desperate lines. Each motion brought the group closer together, their collective gaze transfixed on the unfolding story. Bill felt something shift within himself too. He could see the light and shadows in Jake's painting, a visual representation of everything they had all discussed. But while he reveled in their connection, he was mindful of the undercurrents lurking beneath the surface. What if Jake painted something that shook them all? What if the art revealed more than they were prepared to face? The silence thickened with expectation. Bill's stomach was knotted, balancing the thrill of creation with the tension of the unknown. Lily leaned in closer, eager yet tender. "Keep going, Jake. You're not alone. We're right here with you." Her encouragement was like a gasp of fresh air, filling the room with hope. The energy shifted again as the others picked up their brushes, inspired by Jake's brave start, but as Jake painted, another question bubbled beneath the surface, one Bill could not ignore. Would this release lead to healing, or would it open the floodgates to deeper wounds? As the bright, chaotic colors blended and shifted, a sense of destiny gripped them all. What stories would emerge from these strokes? And would they be ready to face what they had unleashed together? Lily glanced at Jake, her eyes sparkling with possibility. In this moment of creation, she knew, their journey had just begun, and the hardest truths might still be around the corner. Would they find the courage to embrace the full spectrum of their stories? Jake's brush danced across the canvas like a timid bird just learning to fly. Each stroke seemed to mirror the tumult inside him, hesitant yet desperate for freedom, chaotic yet searching for structure. The colors clashed at first, a clash of reds and blacks battling against soft blues and yellows. They told unspoken stories. The rest of the group remained silent, their eyes glued to the canvas, waiting for the magic of revelation to unfold. "Breathe, Jake," Lily whispered, a gentle reminder that the room was a safe haven for his feelings. Each stroke seemed to tattoo the air with energy, a potent mix of fear, hope, and a longing for understanding. Bill shifted his weight, his heart racing. He worried that unveiling too much might tear the fragile bonds they were forming. But as Jake's brush met the canvas time and time again, shapes and images began to emerge. It wasn't just color, it was emotion. Layers of feeling seeped into the white void, weaving together a story that resonated not only for Jake but for them all. Murmurs of connection stirred in the air, soft gasps filled with understanding. "Look!" Julie finally exclaimed, a wave of excitement rushing over her. "It's like a storm breaking through to sunlight." The others agreed, nodding softly, their own anxieties peeling away. They started adding their shades to the back of Jake's masterpiece. It became a collaborative journey without anyone saying a word, an unspoken pact that they would all contribute to this shared story. Just as Jake dipped the brush into a dark hue, he paused, the weight of silence hanging heavy. "This part," he hesitated. "It feels too heavy." But the sincerity etched in his voice broke through barriers. Lily stepped forward. "Sometimes, the heaviest parts reveal our greatest truths. What feels burdensome can lead to something beautiful." Jake's brow furrowed, wrestling with fears that wrestled for dominance, but he pressed on, layering thick strands of black and deep blue. It was more than just pain, it was the rawness of truth, the shadows of worries that clouded his heart. Bill's breaths quickened. The moment felt monumental, like watching a flower blossom amidst a raging storm. He could feel a swell of emotion stirring deep within him, something familiar he'd long since forgotten. As Jake painted, a soft tremor of energy radiated during each brushstroke from the canvas, to the air, and right into the group's hearts. Sam leaned in closer, eyes wide with wonder. "Are you okay?" he asked, genuine concern mingling with admiration. The question hung there, inviting vulnerability, a choice to respond. Tears glimmered at the corners of Jake's eyes. I think I'm scared," he admitted, his voice barely a whisper. "Scared is okay," Lily encouraged, moving her hand subtly over Jake's shoulder, providing warmth and affirmation. "We're all scared sometimes. This art. It's a part of us, fear included. You're our brave artist." Jake inhaled deeply, a raw breath that echoed in the room. With a hard press of the brush against the canvas, he let go of the tension held within. It felt cathartic. Every color-layered emotion he expressed seemed to loosen the tight grip of fear, letting it spill onto the canvas and intertwine with resolve. A sense of unity sparked among them as they realized they were all navigating personal storms together. Bill felt that knot inside him soften, replaced by a flicker of hope. Here they were, faces lit up with vulnerability, creating something real and heartfelt. As Jake stepped back, a picture emerged that was undeniably beautiful and chaotic. The collective breath of the group was taken away. There, in the midst of brightly clashing colors, was a shadow, a representation of Jake's hidden pain. It was an awakening, drawing them all closer, but as the revelation settled in, Jake's eyes flicked to Bill. "What if it feels too much?" he asked softly. The room grew still, Bill biting his lip, suddenly aware that the hardest truths were just beginning to surface. What lay beyond this first canvas? What raw realities would they all confront, riding the waves of art and emotion together? With hope and hesitation, the journey continued. What would they be ready to face next? The days rolled on after that fateful evening. Bill watched as his daughter began to thrive again, her spirit slowly lifting like the first rays of dawn chasing away the lingering shadows. Lily painted more regularly, her colorful expressions spilling onto canvas and filling their little blue house with brightness. She was finally finding her voice, a melody composed of dreams and resilience. One afternoon, Bill found her in the backyard, deeply engrossed in her latest piece. The canvas, splashed with vibrant shades of turquoise, orange, and cheerful yellows, practically glowed in the sunlight. It was an image of swirling vines, intertwined with flowers bursting open. "I love this, Lily," he exclaimed, unable to hide the pride radiating from his heart. She looked up, a smile breaking across her face, the kind of smile that had been missing for so long. "Thanks, Dad," she chirped. "I'm painting how I feel when I stand under the big oak tree. The whole world feels alive." It sparked something deep inside Bill, memories of countless moments spent sharing dreams beneath that old oak, moments overshadowed by Lily's struggles. Yet now, they stood on the cusp of something beautiful and transformative. The worry lines on his forehead began to ease as he saw firsthand how art had freed her spirit. With each painting, Lily began to pull others into her world. She invited Jake to join her for paint sessions, and together, they created pieces filled with unfiltered emotions, pieces that reflected not only their struggles but also their bond. It was a manifestation of healing. When Jake painted, he would talk about feelings he'd never shared before, and it felt liberating for both of them, creating a safe space where vulnerability was celebrated. Bill watched from a distance, feeling a swell of fatherly joy watching their friendship blossom. They were playfully splattering paint and laughing, giant splotches of color marked across their faces, two kids creating a tapestry of youthful vitality on freshly stretched canvas. But while the light grew in their art, whispers still teased the corners of their lives. Old habits of judgmental conversations lingered in the hallways of the school. And although the fair had ignited a spark of open dialogue among some parents, it wasn't universal. Challenges bubbled beneath the surface, ready to clash like thunder. One afternoon, as Lily brought home another painting, her face fell. The weight of a mocking comment from a schoolmate echoed in her mind. "You'll never change the way people see you, just because you paint." Her shoulders sagged, and Bill's heart ached at the look on her face. "Lily," he said gently, kneeling beside her. "Listen. That comment, it's just noise. You're finding your strength, and nothing can take that away from you. Remember the beauty found in the storm? You have the power to shape your story." Tears glimmered in her eyes as she leaned into him, needing comfort from the reminder of their shared fight. "They don't get it, Dad. They don't see." "Maybe not," he acknowledged, "but those who are learning, like Jake and the others, they will. Growth doesn't happen overnight, but I believe in you." With a steadiness growing inside her, she wiped her eyes. "You're right. I want to let them take my colors." Bill's heart soared. They were weathering storms, not alone but as a family, a collective force supporting and uplifting one another. Days passed, and that very strength encouraged more kids to join Lily and Jake in their art sessions. Together, they laughed, conversed, and painted, transforming the rawness of emotion into vibrant creations that embraced their individual stories. Then came the day of the art exhibition, an event designed not just for showcasing art but for celebrating every child. The community buzzed with excitement as parents and kids streamed in, but Bill felt a flutter of nerves. He understood the weight of the words they used to describe each piece could either uplift or dishearten. He watched as Lily, with determination etched on her face, stood in front of their homemade display. A selected collection of her artwork hung side by side with Jake's and the other kids'. Each painting reflected struggles and heartfelt stories, a collage of their transformations. As people milled about, the quiet hum of admiration built into cheerful exclamations. "Look at that one," one woman remarked, an expression of pure delight transforming her features. "What a beautiful use of colors." Even Jake, standing beside Lily, reflected a newfound confidence as compliments flowed like a gentle river around them, and that was when Bill caught sight of them, a group of kids hesitating at the entrance. The familiar faces of Lily's former classmates from school, whispers trailing closely behind them. His stomach knotted again. Would they bring negativity into this celebration? But instead of retreating, Lily took a deep breath, pulling herself a little straighter. "Come see." She called out to them, her voice laced with the confidence she had claimed back. "I have something to show you." She stepped towards them, unyielding in her openness. Bill held his breath, praying for understanding to blossom amid hesitation. The group shied away momentarily, uncertainty painting their macabre expressions. "Is this it?" one of the girls finally asked, glancing toward the vibrant artwork. "Yes," Lily said brightly. "I poured my heart into this piece. Do you want to hear what it means?" Bill could feel the tension begin to dissipate. He watched as the children hesitated, trusting Lily's sincerity and warmth. To his delight, they nodded, curiosity shining in their eyes, allowing her words to guide them. As Lily explained the things that inspired her, the story held vivid colors: her pain, her triumph, the beauty in being different. It was a daring move, but he witnessed as it began to whittle away at the barrier that once divided them. Tension softened, laughter punctuated their dialogue, as Lily connected with her former classmates in an unexpected way. They stepped closer, peering curiously at her creations, whispering thoughts and sharing their ideas about art, words spilling out, friendships rekindling. Bill's heart swelled with hope. This was the moment he had always dreamed of seeing, a shift of acceptance, a reweaving of bonds that had frayed. And in that atmosphere of healing, something remarkable happened. Lily stood confidently among them, not just as a victim of scrutiny but as a voice finding its resonance. For the first time, something twinkled in her eye. A light that shattered the clouds of doubt and negativity. As the sun dipped lower in the sky, casting warm hues of dusk, Bill realized this wasn't merely a celebration of art, it was a celebration of community, one where hearts opened, narratives intertwined, and the beauty of acceptance transformed not only perceptions but lives. That night, beneath a canopy of stars, he held Lily close, wrapping her in an embrace filled with pride. It was incredible to see how far they had traveled, the depths they had shared, and the love that had endured. Though storms had threatened in the past, they had soaked the roots of resilience. "Thank you for painting your heart, Lily," he whispered. "You've taught me the importance of colors in life." As they stood there, father and daughter grounded in the truth of their journey, a warm wave washed over them, a sense of belonging, a sense of finally being home. This was where their fight had led, and Bill knew they were just beginning. So many stories were still waiting to be told, with Lily at the helm, arms wide open, ready to embrace them all. And that was when he felt it, a pulse deep within him encouraging more. "Remember," he said softly. "This story of acceptance doesn't merely end here, it's just the beginning." Their eyes sparkled with understanding, and together, they stepped boldly into the future, armed with colors, emotions, and an unwavering belief that every story matters. Now more than ever, it was time to share that journey with the world. This was their moment, time to invite everyone to open their own hearts, to paint their own stories of resilience and acceptance. And as they walked home, hand in hand, Bill felt like he was ready to shout it to the universe: art can change everything. So the call was clear today: embrace your colors, step into the frame, and share your story with the world. It's time to lift one another up. If you enjoyed witnessing this transformation, you need to subscribe now. This is the moment to show your support for Lily and all the others with stories waiting to be told. Don't wait not even one more second to share this video with at least 5 friends who need to see this journey of art and acceptance. Leave a like now to feed the algorithm. Let us spread this message wide. Comment your reactions and feelings about the ending, because your voice matters. Together, let us paint the world in understanding, and create a masterpiece of connection.